Our pregame coverage continues from Morgantown, the round of 64 as James Madison takes on Kentucky. I'm Corey Spector, now joined by a very special guest. She is the 2011 CAA Player of the Year, two-time participant in the NCAA Tournament, James Madison's all-time leading scorer with over 2,600 career points, leader in three-pointers as well, and class of 2022 James Madison Hall of Famer. She may be known as Dawn Raven to many, but she is still Dawn Evans to us here at JMU. Dawn, how are you?
I am doing great. Wow, Corey, you did some research. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm super glad to be a part. Like JMU is such family, so anytime I can connect with you guys, it means a lot to me. A very big part of my life and my history. And yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic to have you. So grateful for your time. So tell everyone what you're up to right now.
Okay, so I'm still in LA. I've been here over 10 years. I did go home during the pandemic because, my health issues were something that was very publicized while I was at JMU. A big part of why I survived a lot of what I was going through because of the teams at JMU. So I went home during the pandemic, dealt with another transplant, but I'm past that. I'm back in LA in deep pursuit of my acting career. I'm also a realtor here, very deeply rooted in the LA basketball community as well. But yeah, I'm living my life. I'm grateful, to be healthy and still living out my dreams.
That's fantastic. Glad to hear that. You mentioned your acting career. The 688 a couple of years ago came out. Private Cone. What a great film that was, directed by Tyler Perry, starring Kerry Washington, Ebony Obsidian. Oprah's in it as well. What was that experience like?
Oh, it was amazing. It was awesome because I live in LA and my family, I'm from Tennessee, but my family is closer to the Atlanta area. So I was actually able to go home, spend time with my family, and then commute to set to be, in Atlanta and shooting. And that was just a wonderful film. Such deep-rooted history in the strength of women. So just being a part of that, it meant a lot to me, and it's put me in position to continue out my career, and it's given me some new opportunities that I'm excited that will soon come to air.
I was going to say, anything you can share with us? What are you working on next?
Yeah, so I actually am in the process of shooting the first installment of a trilogy movie. We actually just wrapped shooting 2 days ago. And I'm super excited about that. That'll be released the top of next year. And then, yeah, it's a three-part series, so that's coming. And then I just booked another film. It's part two of a movie that's already a BET original, but they're doing a part two of it. So we're shooting that in May. The first week of May is when we kind of start shooting that. So I don't know when the release date is, but yeah, super excited about those two opportunities. And yeah, it's a constant grind. I think basketball prepared me for.
I was going to say, you are one busy woman, huh?
Yeah, I got to stay busy. Got to keep my mind just, working and going. And yeah, and then in the midst of that, just LA real estate and just, it's the people skills that I learned playing sport translates to every career that I've pursued. Just being able to work in team environments and things. So yeah, just on a hustle, living life, trying to just keep active and, just pursue the things that I love and just to really breed quality of life for me.
That's awesome. Dawn Evans with us here on the pregame show leading up to James Madison and Kentucky in the round of 64. I don't know if you were watching the selection show. I don't know if you pay attention to Charlie Cream's bracketology, but this matchup between JMU and Kentucky has been rumored now for the last couple of weeks. When it officially came out on Sunday night, what was your reaction?
I was like, wow, the NCAA loves story, man. They love story. And they know that, especially what Kenny Brooks did and Coach O'Regan, the infamous, we call him Coach O. And he was there when I was there. I think, especially for us who are familiar with story, like I think it's a classic, especially with what Coach O is doing with the program now, moving to a new conference, just really creating his own legacy. But you can't forget the impact that a Sheila Mormon and a Kenny Brooks has also done there. So to bring them collectively and just to, put on display what Harrisonburg, Virginia does. Kenny Brooks isn't Kenny Brooks at Kentucky without being Kenny Brooks at JMU first. So, just put on display the greats that are able to pass through there in the work that JMU has done for a very long time. So I love to see them on the biggest platform.
So, Dawn, let's flash back to 2007. You stride on into James Madison's campus. Team's fresh off an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament, by the way. You're a freshman, and this JMU alum comes in from Evansville named Sean O'Regan. What do you remember about those first interactions with Coach O?
I knew Coach O before he was this buff, working out, strong man. Coach O came in, he's a JMU alum himself, right? And so the culture of JMU runs through his blood, and just very excited. The energy that I'm sure that he still takes on and exhibits to his team is the same energy that Coach O came in, but just very willing to learn, always constantly just kind of actively watching to become and to grow. And I feel like he came in with this ambition. I didn't know at the time, but I guess in retrospect, I think he always had this intention to be what he's become to JMU. Almost kind of like the unlikely hero coming in, for me, and seeing his growth. But I immediately took a liking to him. He is for sure a player's coach, like wants to connect with his players on a personal level, wants to build relationship. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at what he's doing, what he's able to recruit and do, and continue the legacy of JMU, which for us who have been there, who it's a big part of literally the DNA of who we are, because we're there so young. And so we take on the skill sets from that time and take it into life. Like he's doing an incredible job with it. I'm so proud of him. And yeah, it means a lot to me that he's continued the legacy of JMU.
Putting you on the spot just a little bit, but any favorite memory of Coach O from college?
I think before we got on, I told you he called me Mighty Mouse, but I came into the locker room one time and Coach O had printed out a picture of Mighty Mouse and he taped it in my locker. And I think I was going through a time, like I felt like it was my responsibility to lead JMU, and in what way it changes from year to year as a leader when you're pulling in a different team. And I expressed that I was kind of like, I felt the weight of some things. And so Coach O, it was unspoken. He taped it in like basically to say, Don, you're capable. You may be small, but you're mighty, so something like those type of things are things that you take on and you don't forget for life. Those things have deep impact on you.
Dawn Evans with us here on the pregame show. James Madison playing in the NCAA tournament today against the Kentucky Wildcats. So still to this day, what lessons, what do you take away from your experiences with Coach O? And what do you take away with your experience with Coach Brooks as well?
It's this term has been coined over the last maybe 7 to 10 years. It's like ball is life. But when you're under the head of people like a Kenny Brooks and a Sean O'Regan, you really take the skill sets into life that prepare you for everything that is to be dealt with. I think the same spirit that I played basketball is the same spirit that I took into like fighting my kidney disease and fighting the health issues. It's like, okay, I may have lost this game today, but I got tomorrow. And there's always another chance to win, and how to approach that. It's funny because Coach O used to be like, Don, I can tell you don't like the work around like running a mile, because for you it's not associated with basketball, right? And that's another thing that I took from Coach O. He would kind of point out, like he could see me. I could hide behind a lot of things, but Coach O, he was watching, before he was the head coach, he could kind of watch from the sidelines and really evaluate. And he wasn't afraid to come to me and be like, okay, you got it, Don, you got to love the process. He said that to me. He said, it's about the process, even the things that you don't love. And I could acknowledge like, oh, I do not like this part of the game. But this part of the game is the part of me that I need to work on the most because I dislike it the most. I'm telling you, that same thing is what's taking me to success in every other aspect of my life. It's like it's the thing that nags you the most that you hate to do, but if you work on that, you're the best version of yourself. So yeah, I think it's those skills that I take from not just great coaches, but great men, and I have a great relationship with my father, so they kind of continued that kind of relationship for me that will transcend lifetimes.
If JMU were to win today, Dawn, this would be the Duke's highest ranked win since December of 2009 in Charlottesville. You might remember that game against number 14 Virginia, 75-73. Dawn Evans casually just out-dueling Monica Wright. You scored 38 points, tied your school record at the time. What do you remember about that game?
What I remember, it was the day before I had to go back to UVA and get my blood work for my kidney diagnosis. So I didn't know yet that I had it, but I knew I was dealing with something. But I remember like how grueling it was, but how like my team we kind of like circled around each other, team, coaching staff and all, we kind of circled around each other and we willed ourselves through that. And our coaching staff at that time, Kenny, leading it, saying like, don't go in there thinking that we're the underdog. Like, we have the capability to win this game too, So, and I'm sure that's a lesson, and I'm sure that's something that Coach O is still continuing with, is like, I love Kenny Brooks. Yes, I do. But I am still a JMU alum. So they have the capability to win that game. They just have to go in there with all heart. And yeah, I would love to see it. I love quote the underdog story, but JMU, we're the Duke dogs. We're not the underdogs. We're the Duke dogs, and so we do what the Duke dogs do, and we make things shake. And so I would love to see that.
Okay, good. I was going to ask you at the end of this, like, who you're rooting for, but it's good to know that your allegiances are still in purple and gold.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's home. JMU is home. It's where I can go and land and know that I'm comfortable, know I'm safe, know it's a place that I'm welcome and loved forever. I mean, the JMU community still reaches out to me via my Instagram, Facebook, all the time. So I know where home is. Do I love Kenny Brooks? Yes, of course. And I've gone out and support them. And in any other situation, go UK. But right now, you're going against my Duke dog. So that's the obvious choice.
Okay, glad to hear that. Talked about your tournament experience. You played in them twice, 2010 in Norfolk against Temple, 2011 back in Charlottesville against Oklahoma. So what's your best advice to these players soaking in the moment versus also, hey, this is a basketball game that we're trying to win here?
Yeah, I think soaking in the moment will allow them to realize, especially somebody like Peyton, who this is her last run, and understanding, like, especially with what women's basketball has become, like, for a lot of girls who play college basketball, that will be the biggest moment, Don't just take it as the first round. Take it as this is the biggest moment of your basketball career thus far. It is. And take it on as that. But also ground yourself in knowing, like, it's the game that it's the game that you've played up to here, that you've been able to develop, that you've done the work behind the scenes, and now the lights are on. Put on the show that you can put on. And there's nobody, and I had this mentality every time I stepped on the court. It doesn't care. Who cares about the highlights, the stats, and everything? Every game, everybody's tying up their shoes the same, putting on their jersey the same, has put in the work. You can take on and win. There's no one. I didn't think anybody was on the court was better than me, or that's just the mentality, and if you take that on in spirit, it becomes what it becomes. And I think JMU can get a dub. UK has some weak spots. They do. So, and what I know Coach O to do in his breakdown of the game, his breakdown of a team, I know he knows where those are. So just do what JMU does. 40 minutes of hard and smart basketball.
You fired us up today, Dawn. You really have.
Good. That's what I do. Like, it doesn't stop. JMU, purple and gold runs through my blood. So whatever I can do I'm always a part of that team, no matter where I am in the world.
Well, like I said earlier, I know you have a very busy schedule, but I look forward to the day you come back to the Atlantic Union Bank Center. You get celebrated, you get honored the way that you deserve. We look forward to having you back in Harrisonburg soon. Okay, Dawn?
Hopefully sooner than later. Thank you so much, Corey, for reaching out. I really appreciate it. Glad to be a part. Go Dukes. I love you guys. Kill it. I'll be watching.